Hey guys, buckle up for another episode of Below the Iceberg, the one and only podcast where we talk to real-life 2 Comma Club winners. Whether you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, a wannabe entrepreneur, or you've been in business for a while, you're sure to pick up lots of actionable advice from these million-dollar entrepreneurs. And now, if you don't know what a 2 Comma Club winner is, it's where they have built one funnel in the ClickFunnels software and sold $1 million through just that one funnel, which is an absolute fantastic achievement. Now, in this episode, I'm really excited to be talking to Tyler Watson, who unexpectedly catapulted himself into $1 million business. He got his first 2 Comma Club award within 3 months of trying, but this was after many years. And now he's on his mission for award number 2. So let's dive in and find out what he does, how he achieved it in under 3 months, and all the unexpected things that happened along this path to the coveted $1 million funnel. Welcome, Tyler. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Perfect. Awesome. Yes. So I want to give you a massive congratulations on hitting the 2 Comma Club award.
Thank you.
So what I like to do with my guests is I like to do a bit of investigating and I go check out your social profiles because it's good for our listeners to see what people can achieve if they have big followings or they have small followings, and it's a good overall picture for people. So I had a look on your profiles, and your Facebook group seems to be your biggest source of people. Is that right?
Yeah, that and our email list.
And your email list. So I think you've got about 1.9k people in your group.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. I couldn't find many other social platforms with much, to be honest.
It's true.
Is that fair?
It's true. Yeah, I don't have a lot.
It's true. Okay, so your business is the Abundance Masters. Is that right?
Yes.
Awesome. So can you tell our listeners exactly what that is?
Yeah. So Abundance Masters, our mission is to help high achievers be able to take what they want to attain, whether it's health, relationships, or in financials or wealth creation. And we help them align cellularly to their goals so they can attain it in days instead of years.
Right. Okay. So what exactly do you actually do to them then?
Yeah.
In basic, like 5 grades status.
Yeah. So you know that feeling if you ever eaten something and your belly feels weird, like it's something that you ate and it didn't quite settle right?
Right, yeah.
So the same thing actually occurs when we have a goal that we're working toward, whether it's a financial goal or a relationship goal. The idea of something causes physical symptoms to come up. And what we do is we strategically go through every single part of the body and change the fight flight responses in the body so that people can be 100% aligned or in tune with their goal. So many people take 30, 40 years to attain things when in reality, they could literally do it within days or weeks if they were actually fully on board with it.
All right. Okay. Interesting. So when did you actually hit the $1 million in sales?
That was last year. We did it online through our online platform. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that was through the Abundance Masters.
Correct. Teaching that technique.
Okay. So was it a goal to hit the 2 Comma Club award, or did it just happen?
It was definitely a goal. And I actually got the goal when I used my own process to help myself attain the goal. Because I was not attaining the goal and I had it for a long time. But it was interesting because kind of a backstory, my thought about attaining goals and getting awards. So growing up, I was the one who skipped out on my graduation. I didn't want like any type of awards because I felt like every time I got an award, it was, and this was not conscious, but it was just, I felt like it was fake validation and fake love.
All right.
And so I watched my mom go through like 4 divorces, my dad through 2. So I felt like if I earned something, that was the only way to have love. and I didn't want that. So I actually repelled a lot of my goals unknowingly, which one of them was the 2cc award. And once I aligned and shifted that, we were able to attain it within a 3-month period after we compiled everything and started to do it all. And we were like, what the heck? Why is this taking us so freaking long to do? And that was why, because my body was so resistant to it. I'd procrastinate. I'd go get busy doing something else. I'd not make sales that I needed to. I would just sabotage myself.
All
and
right.
so, yeah, once you're in alignment, things just start to work for you instead of against you.
Right, I see. So when you did hit it, what did you know you'd hit it, or did it pass you by a little bit and then you realized?
We knew we hit it. Yeah. Cause we were very conscious about it. Once we shifted, we're like, hey, let's just focus on this and get it. And then we did. And we're like, wow, that didn't need to take as long as we waited for years to try to get.
And what happened when you hit it? Did you have a party, celebration?
So for us, and it's interesting to think that through. This kind of goes with what we teach. When someone's aligned to their goal, the feelings of joy, excitement, and just like the party that goes on when you attain something happens long before you actually get the goal.
Right. Okay.
So when you get the goal, it's just kind of like, cool, awesome. Like next thing, like, of course this happened. Like I already knew it was part of my reality. So that's kind of how we look at it, is when someone's in a state of what's called alignment, you don't need the goal to have the happiness or the joy or the excitement. It comes way before the goal actually occurs.
Right. Okay. So it happens on the journey.
Yeah.
Then when you hit the goal, some people, they don't know what to do then. And then they go in a bit of a
yeah.
hit it. So what do I do now? So when you hit it, is there another goal that you're going towards now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Our goal is to get another one, but in a 6-month span. So we would love to do it in like 6 months, be able to get another 2cc award. And also our goal is we have a lot of goals, but that's like our biggest one right now. And then to get our message out to the masses in multiple ways. We're hiring like setters and closers. So we're really excited to just scale and hit the next level.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to do a little bit of a rewind now. I'm going to take you back to your childhood.
Yeah.
So what was your childhood? What was your childhood like?
Well, I lived in Arkansas up on a mountain, and our nearest neighbors were like 2 miles from us.
That sounds like
me. We had a pond. My dad had like 60 acres, and all of it was trees and full of wild animals. And so we just roamed all the time as kids. And my dad's what's called a clinical kinesiologist, and my stepmom's a naturopath. So
what is that?
So basically, my dad uses the body to dictate what the body needs. So like supplements and herbal supplements and different processes that they need to get in order to get their health back.
All right. Okay.
So he went from a place where he had a broken back and wasn't supposed to walk. He was paralyzed from the waist down until he started to go more natural routes. And then he changed from being a mechanical engineer to become a doctor of natural medicine. So so I've been in the space of natural healing and transformation for my whole life. But yeah, that was kind of my childhood growing up.
So did he do that for himself? Was he self-employed business owner or?
Yep. Self-employed. He owned a clinic up there. He was known as the witch doctor up on the mountain in this tiny town. And if you're dying and you've tried everything, go see him. He'll solve it. I always grew up with all the taboo around like the weirdness of the unknown and what people don't understand, yet it worked. And so yeah.
So when you were a child, what was the dream? What did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be something kind of like my dad, which was somebody who helped people, because I saw him just helping people all the time, and I just wanted to be a doctor of some sort. And so yeah, that's what I always wanted to be.
All right. Okay. So when you left school, did you go to college?
I did. Yeah. I went to college. I went through as a medical. So I did pre-med, and then got my massage therapy license. And then I left there, went to Florida, started to become a doctor of natural medicine. And then I quit that and left.
So
and
did you do
became
it
a
as a
coach.
job, or were you training still?
I was training, and then I was also doing it in the clinic. So I did Ayurvedic medicine and helping people in their health and traumas and helping them heal and all sorts of stuff.
All right. Okay. So how long did you do that for?
In clinic, probably about a year. And I did a lot of house calls before that, like driving around people's homes and helping people. So did that for like a year or two in college.
Okay. So was that your first like proper job when you left college?
No, I mean, I worked at a bowling alley and like, like proper, I don't know. I worked at a bowling alley. I worked at a hamburger joint. I worked at like all sorts of just whatever was around.
So were they part-time jobs or were they full-time jobs while you were deciding what you were going to do?
They were all part-time, and I didn't
right.
really like, and I was a massage therapist, but my problem is I had so much like limiting beliefs and beliefs about myself. I would charge like 15 to 20 bucks for a massage, and I'd drive to people's houses and work on them. And it was just because I had so much negative voices in my head that I didn't feel like I was good enough and I couldn't do it. I suffered with a lot of depression growing up, suicidal tendencies, addictive behaviors. So I felt like I had to work super hard to earn my value and worth. And that affected me a lot. And so I had to work through that and change it to where I could actually like not have to work as hard and still help as many people as I can.
So where did those beliefs come from then? Where did those limiting beliefs come from?
A lot of it was honestly growing up. So about 12 was when my parents got a divorce, and it was completely out of the blue. So my dad just is like, hey, we need to talk. And I'm like, okay, like, what did I do wrong? And he's like, hey, your mom and I are getting a divorce. And I was like, what the heck? Like my whole foundation was on family, faith, and freedom and everything. And then he's like, we're separating. I was like, I didn't even know there was a problem. And so it shook my whole foundation. And I took on this feeling that it was all my fault as the oldest son.
Right.
And so I pretended everything was okay. I didn't know how to voice my emotions then. And I pretended. And so I became a high achiever. I started to go get straight A's, MVP, class president. And I tried to earn back that love that I felt was missing. And then I watched my mom go through 3 more divorces and my dad through another. And it just kept reiterating this pattern of, I'm not good enough. It's all my fault. I can't do it. I'm going to fail. I'm going to screw up relationships. I can't make it. And I turned to pornography addictions. I turned to video game addictions, suicidal thoughts and tendencies. And I just felt like there was no out, and I couldn't tell anybody because I had to pretend I was the perfect kid. So that went from about 12 to about 18 years old. And I started to try to clean up, work on myself a little bit, left for 2 years on a church mission in Mexico. And I loved it. It was awesome. It was like so empowering. I was like, this is what I'm born to do. Like just serve. Came back and fell back into the same patterns.
What did you do on that then? What did you actually do?
On the church mission?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for 2 years, I taught about Christ and taught how he can help people come together and make changes, and talked about how Christ visited the Americas and all sorts of fun stuff. So,
all right. Okay. So how did you get involved with that?
So that was something I was always a part of. Like, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints. And that was something that I've always wanted to do. But after they got a divorce, like I was unsure and I didn't really know, like, is this really the church that I want to go to? So I was in the Bible Belt. So I just jumped from church to church to church to see where is the truth? Like, where is the most that I can feel that truth? And I found it in my own, search, and ended up going and teaching a lot of people about it. And so that was awesome. It was amazing. And yet at the same time, being in that spot was great, because then I was like, you just follow what they teach and you're going to do awesome serving, and it's all mapped out. And then you come back home and you're like, all the bad old patterns come back. You just fall back into the same stuff. And part of me was like, did I really change? Like, can I really make a lasting change? And that's when I started to try to make those changes. And what I evolved into today, which is actually teaching a process that teaches people how to make lasting changes at a cellular level.
So when you were so what happened with the massage then? So did you quit that?
Yeah. So I was doing it. I was really good at it because my dad taught me since I was like 2. So I literally like worked on people since the age of 2. And so, cause his back was broken. And so he taught me how to like work on, work through the muscles and the muscle tissues and everything. And then I was like, hey, I do this already for people, so I might as well get paid for it. So then I got the degree or the license. And yet through that, I knew that the only way to grow was to raise my prices or find more clients and just become a slave to what I was doing, which I saw my dad kind of do in clinic. He was just doing one-on-ones, super good at what he does. Yet anytime we went on vacation, it was always, okay, I got to get back to work to make the money, because if I'm not at work, I'm not making money.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, why are there so many great people who have such amazing messages that don't get paid well and don't have things set up to where it can truly create the freedom that they provide for others? So I wanted to break that chain, and I wanted to help empower other people to do that. And so I knew I had to go first. So that's why I started to work on myself. And I, since then, I've probably invested almost $500,000 in my personal development, going through breakthrough processes, helping my mindset. And I've become this person who I am, and I like have so much more to go, and I'll never stop growing. But it's like I'm kind of a junkie when it comes to, okay, like what's the fastest way to change and the fastest way to get result and the fastest way to change something in the body. So I'm like obsessed with change, and it's super fun.
So what did you do first then? So you had the massage. So how did it actually happen then? So did you stop doing the massage?
Yeah. So that year when I was doing massage, I was like, I ended up meeting my wife that like towards the end of that year. And I was working in my dad's clinic as the massage therapist.
Right.
And so I was like, but I had to find all my own clients. He's like, you got to find your own people. And I was like, okay. So I didn't know any marketing. I didn't know any, I had so much money issues, and it was so hard for me to ask for money. And so that year I made like 13 grand the whole year, working all the time, trying to like make it ends meet. And I got married that year. And then I ended up leaving the clinic that year because I just got this download. I just tuned in and asked God, and I was like, okay, like, what's my mission? Do I need to like speak and be a coach and a mentor? Cause I started getting into some mindset stuff.
All right.
Or do I need to pursue and finish my degree in doctor of natural medicine, create my own clinics and go that route? And it was very distinct. It was like, nope, you need to be a coach and a speaker. And I was like, I have no idea how to do that. Like I'm the furthest from like motivational. so I left everything. I literally like set the date, and I was like, okay, I'm leaving the clinic, have no income, and I'm married, and my wife is pregnant, and she can't make any money because she's super sick. So that year brought in $13,000, and then I learned stuff. I like started to borrow credit cards from people, and I was like, I had no money, and I was like, I got to figure this out. So I bought my first big program for like $5,500.
All right. What was that?
It was on speaking and how to like teach and how to like sell from stage. So I did that. And then I was now more broke because I still had a lot of issues on selling, and I couldn't do it. I was like, oh, this is too hard.
So how long ago was this then?
That was about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. And I struggled a lot, and I was like, but it was all this mind game, mind and body game. And I didn't have the confidence, and I was just like so frustrated with myself. I was like, I gotta provide, I gotta change. I know it's in me. I just don't know how. And so I kept at it. I kept working on myself with the books I was reading, some processes that I learned. And I kept going. And I was so desperate. I literally I just left because my wife was just mad at me. She's like, go make money. And I like, we gotta eat. We gotta have food on the table. And I was like, I know I gotta go sell something, but I don't know how. So I got so mad at myself. I just left, and the town I was in was so small. There was like nobody. So I drove for 40 minutes to the nearest town. And I was like, well, I was listening to a Jim Rome tape, and he's like, talk to 10, get one, talk to 10, get one, talk to 10, get one, get a little better, talk to 10, get two. So I was like, I just need to talk to people. Like, that's what's wrong. So I just left for 2 days solid. And I was like knocking doors, like random business doors. And I was like in the mall talking to people. And I was like doing all the worst things ever.
So what were you trying to sell them?
I don't even know. I was just like, I gotta sell them something. I was selling them transformation. I was like, I'm going to help you with your life. And it was just so vague. And I was just like, I got to sell something. So it was horrible. It was terrible. And I remember just like day 2, and I had talked to so many people, and I literally was like I just felt so bad because I had no guidance. Nobody was there. I didn't know anything. And I remember driving up to this other place, and I just had this feeling of like, Tyler, you suck. Like, you are the world's worst salesperson. You cannot do anything right. Like, you're just broken. You're never going to succeed. And I got out of my car, went and knocked some doors, same thing. Like, they're like, okay, like, that's cool. Like, awesome. Like, pat me on the head. Back then I looked like I was 12. Now I look like I'm 17. But I was like walking, and then I literally go in my car and I just cry. I was just like, I cannot do this. But I know I had to. Like, I knew it was my thing. And I just cried and went to sleep, woke up, felt a little bit better. But then I was like, it's still there. The problem is still there. Got an email that was like, how to enroll clients with your story. And I was like, well, I don't have clients and I don't have a story, but heck, I'm game. So I watched this training, and this guy's offering something for like $2,000. And I already bought this $5,400 program. And I'm like already in debt, and I have no money. And then this thought was like, this is what you need. Like, this is the next piece. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm just going to keep investing and investing, and like, I'm not going to make any money. But at that time, I just knew, like, when you get that impression, you gotta act on it, regardless of fear. So I did. And I bought it on a payment plan for $400 a month with my last $400. And like digested all the stuff. And it was the skills that I needed to learn how to package and enroll clients.
All right. Okay.
And so I was on an airplane, and I like eat and breathe that thing for a week. I like digest the whole course, practice it, role played in the shower, like stayed up all night, like trying to do it all. And I was on the airplane to go back to this because I already bought this with the borrowed money. And I was on this airplane to go to the event that I had purchased because you had to go live. And I was like, okay. And I had no money at all. And I was on the airplane, and I enrolled my first client for $1,500, like through an airplane ride. Like following this process. And I was like, we landed, we met somewhere down there, and I enrolled her. And I remember like calling my wife, and I was like in tears. I was like, I sold something for 50. I had the check in my hand. I was like, it's $1,500. And I was just like, my wife was crying. She's like, I've been praying for you. I was like, I've been praying for me too. So that week I made $6,400. The next month, $15K. And that year I made my first $150,000 or $135,000. Got my wife her grand piano, which was the dream that I wanted to get. I thought it was going to take me 5 years. It took me 1. And that was the start. I started to teach and speak and help people. And we made our first million within 3.5 years time span offline.
So the 2,000 was a good investment then?
Yeah. Yep. Totally.
So where did you find that first customer? Where did she find you?
On the airplane.
What, you were sat talking to her?
Yeah, I just sat down next to her.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. And then after that, where did you get your next customers from?
So I just did the 5 steps that I learned, and I was like, okay, it's the networking process, and you have your statement and your system, and you enroll them into a conversation. So it was all networking.
Oh,
so
right.
then at the event, I talked to more people. I just did the magic, and it made like $6,400. And I was like,
right, I see.
This isn't hard. Like, why didn't I just didn't know the skills, and I had all this mind junk and didn't feel good enough. And so, yeah, then I just started networking at all the wrong places and still made it.
So that first year, all your customers just came from networking.
Yeah, just mainly offline, talking to people. I did all the wrong things, but yet that's why this is so, that's why like the power is who you are, not what you do. And so you become the walking billboard. And at first I wasn't they talk about how Harvard did this big study and communication is like 7% words, right? And then they're like, oh, but tone is like 35%, and then body language is like the rest. So right. When I would show up, because of all my internal dialogue and my doubts and my fears, even though I'd try to say the right words, people could pick up on it by my tone and how I showed myself. I was not walking the talk.
Right.
So as I started to shift that and focus more on my journey, I had to get to this commitment where I was like, and this is literally what I told myself, I don't care if I have to die and come back and haunt everybody. I'm going to figure this sucker out and I'm going to like make this work. And so I had a beyond the grave vision. I was like, I don't care how painful this is. If I die doing this, I'm just going to come back from the dead and like haunt everyone until they pay me and I help them. And so that helped. So then I just did it and it started to work. And then I taught other people how to do it and it worked for them. And I was like, dang, this is super cool. So yeah.
So when did you discover ClickFunnels?
Well, ClickFunnels actually happened that year. I discovered it and I was like, get a funnel. Like, this is so much better than like networking. Like, that's going to be the thing. So I like bought into ClickFunnels that year that I was making like the 6 figures.
How did you find it?
It was through one of my coaches because he used ClickFunnels, the one that I bought the 2K program from.
Oh, right. Okay.
And then I bought his $35,000 program on a payment plan and went through all of his high ticket stuff. And that was a huge stretch. Another story for another day. But and so I just started to invest major in myself. And I was like, who I am is not capable of what I want. So I know I need to get out and change all my beliefs and all my feelings and everything. So I learned ClickFunnels early and I thought that's the thing. So I like bought it. And then I remember trying to build my first funnel. It took me about 7 hours and I was trying to do a webinar funnel. And I was like, my brain was like fried and I was like trying to drag and drop. And I'm not a techie dude at all. And I was like, this sucks. Like, this is not what I thought. So I had it and then I didn't touch it after that for a long time, like probably a year. And then I finally like learned just how to have an opt-in and just for a webinar. And I was like, I can do that. Like opt-in. And then I'll do the live webinar. I can't do all that other stuff, but I'll just like do a live webinar. So I started doing some of those with all the people I was networking with.
All right.
Had like 2 or 3 people hop on each time and it was like awesome. And then I started teaching and I sucked really bad, but I got better. And then I remember like starting to sell from my webinars to people that I'd connected to. And I ended up doing one webinar. There was like 13 people on. And I made almost $15,000 from the webinar selling my high ticket stuff. And I was like, this is cool. Like, this is super cool. So yeah. But I didn't have anything other than opt in. Here's an email with the link for my webinar. That was the whole system. Like, that was it.
There's no follow up and there was no it's live. Come and join me.
Yeah. It was just, I had a couple reminders, like, here's the link. And then that was pretty much the extent of it. And that was it. No after follow-ups or anything. It was just like, okay, that was great. So that was my beginning. And I had less than 400 people on my email list. And yeah, it was just slow, but I, made 6 figures that year, even with not a big list, with not knowing anybody.
Were you still doing the webinars then to do the 6 figures? Networking?
A few times, but most of it, I'd say 90% of it was networking. And the people who were on the webinars was because I networked with them. And then I like got their email and I was like, here's my webinar that I'm going to do. So that's how I got my people, was from networking. All
right. Okay. And what sort of events were you going to then? Were you networking?
I went to all the wrong ones. Like I literally was like local networking things. And I was in Branson, Missouri then. And there was one thing that was called the Mob, which was like masterminds of business. It was just this group that got together, locals that networked. And then I went to like some of the Chamber of Commerce's, and then I went to like all the people that I probably aren't going to help anyway, but and they have like established businesses, and I'm just like, my thought was talk to more people. That's how I get better. So I went to all the wrong places. And the crazy thing was, because I started to like work through my own stuff, I knew that if I just was like drilling it by numbers, like, and I'm a big fan of frequencies and putting things out there and like karma. And so I was like, well, I don't care the how. So I never hardly got anyone from actual going to those things, but I'd have people literally out of the blue, and then they'd find me somehow. And I didn't have any web presence, and they call me up. I literally had one person, I think it was from a church thing. And they're like, hey, Tyler, are you doing this? Are you like coaching people? And I was like, yes, I am. And then I had one, they come to me and they're like, we want to coach people. Can you help us learn how to coach people? And I was like, sure. And I had like my strategy session, and they're like, I didn't even get to the price point. Back then I was charging like $1,000 or $2,000 to do this whole big program and stuff. And they sit down with me and they're like, we have saved up $5,000 and we want to pay you $5,000 to teach us. And I was like, my program's only $1,000. I was like, okay, it's $5,000. And then they like paid $5,000. I was like, that was the best money I've ever made. Like, it was so cool. So things happen when you become that person, and it's never how you really expect. And so if you don't listen to the voices inside that are stopping you, you can truly achieve anything if you're not attached to the how. So often though, I was like, oh, I'm doing it, but I'm not getting the result. And then I had this feeling of like, this won't work. This is just stupid. It's a waste of time. But I knew those thoughts and feelings was the thing that would stop me. So I had to get so angry at myself for allowing those into my life and work on myself and change that to where it just became part of my identity. And I knew that it was like, I'm going to sing my song, even if no one's there to listen. And I'm going to go, even if everybody's plugging their ears. And like, this is who I am and my mission on the planet. And if everybody throws rocks at me, so be it. But like, this is my gift that I have to get out. And when you get to that point, you truly do become unstoppable, and you're able to just go and do it regardless of the opposition.
Yeah, that is so true. So after you did that first person for 5,000, what did you do next? What was your next step?
I was like, well, why not sell an 8K program? So then I like made an 8K program and sold it a couple of weeks later. And I was like, what about a 12K program? And so then I just like made a 12K program, sold that a couple months later. And I was like, I want to sell a 35K program, because that was the one I bought into, and with my other coach.
Right. Okay.
And I was like, why can't I sell that? Like, why not? And so I like had it on my vision board, like worked on myself, meditated, like thought about it. And I was working with one of my coaches at the time, and he calls me up and he's like, hey, you want to do some sales for me? Because he saw that I was getting really good results. And I was like, sure. And so he did this like $1 million launch, and I was like one of his salespeople. And I hop on the phone call, and we're selling 35K programs. And I literally like sold a 35K program. And I was like, I go to my vision board and I erase it because it said, I sell a $35,000 program. And I was like, I sell my $30,000 program. Like, hey, $700 on commissions is nice, but hey, I'd rather, or like 1,000 or something, but I want the 35K. Like, that's what I want. So I created it, and then I like put it out there, worked on myself, all the non-beliefs. And then within about 2-3 months, I put on my own small event, and I think I had maybe 10 people there, and I sold my first 35K program. And I was like,
done. Awesome.
Woohoo! It was so fun. And so, yeah.
How did you get the 10 people that came?
It was same thing. I wrote a book on it. It's called The Enrollment Effect, and it teaches people how to take their message, package it, turn it into a 5-step system that you can find anybody, no matter where you go, because you're the walking billboard. and lead them to consults. And so I led them to consults, had them buy my 2K program, gave them 2 tickets to my event. And then those people would bring a friend. And then that's how I got like 10 to 12 people in my event.
All right, cool. I like that. So they got the book, they bought the 2K, free tickets, then they bring a friend, and then you upsell them the 35.
Yeah. And then I thought, hey, that's cool. I wonder, and I want to sell a 65K program. So then I like made a 65K program and sold 4 of them in one day and made over $250,000 at my next event with less than 30 people in the room.
Wow, that's awesome. Was that a live event or was that online?
It was live. Yeah. So I had 30 people in the room. It was a 3-day event and offered my 65K program, had 4 people buy and pay in full.
That is really, really good.
So yeah, that was kind of my journey. So we had made over the course of 3.5 years, $1 million up to like, that was like maybe 5 years ago. So within that span, we had created $1 million offline, like doing a lot of these teachings and stuff and helping people. And then I developed this technique, which is called the abundance alignment technique, which is all the things that I'd tried that took me months and years to get good at. I just developed my own technique and process to program the body to make it become instantly instead of just drilling it through repetition and passion. And so that's the one that we got the 2CC award for, is the online one, because now we just teach the technique and help people master themselves and get incredible results.
So how do you get people? So how you got the 2 Comma Club? How did you get people into your group?
A lot of it was through YouTube ads.
All right,
so,
okay.
In fact, like I'd say 90+% of it. So we just started running YouTube ads, and over the course of a year, it was amazing. Like we just had tons of people join our Facebook group, and we had a system of enrolling them into like our 2K program or our 5K or our 20K programs. And yeah, it was through that.
All right. Okay. So did you?
And it was a webinar. It was like to opt into an auto webinar to then book a consult.
All right. Okay. And if they didn't book a consult, they would go to the Facebook group?
They'd go to the Facebook group and then get fostered there.
And then you nurture them. How did you get them? So did you get them on a phone call then through the Facebook group?
Yeah. So we connected some systems where when they put in their information and their emails, then it goes into our CRM, and then we can reach out to them and connect to them through that.
Cool. I like it. So with the YouTube ads, did you run those yourself, or did you have an agency running them for you? No,
I'm really not techie, and I hate marketing. Like, even though I'm in Russell Brunson's inner circle now, like I'm like one of the only ones that actually hates marketing, because my gift is like, I love transforming people's lives. My wife loves marketing, but I can't stand it. Like my eyes glaze over and I'm like, this is so boring. So I hire it out. And so, yeah, we bought into a guy who was just really good at, getting messages out, and he ran it for over a year, and that's how we generated the 2CC. So
do you still have them going now?
No, we ended up switching because they ended up like growing massive, and they only work, and they charge like $10K a month to work with them now.
Right.
So I'm like, I just didn't really feel like I want to do that. So now we work with another company, and they're getting just as good as results, and they've been really great. So
what sort of ads? So are you on the YouTube ad? I'm interested to know what your YouTube ad's like.
My YouTube ad?
Yeah.
12 minutes, and it converts like awesome. Yeah, we've tried all of the ads. I've taken ad courses from like Russell. I've done a lot of stuff with the Harmon brothers, like figuring out like, how do you get a good ad? And we've tried all of the little things that they tell you to do, and the hooks and the story, and then the offer, and then the testimonials and everything. So I was like, man, and how I work is like, if it's not from me and my intuition, people just don't resonate. So I just got fed up one day, and I was like, screw all this training everybody teaches. And I'm just going to do it my way. And so I literally like go out, and it's snowing, and I'm just out in the woods, and I'm just like, what's up, Tyler here? And like, you start by doing this. You're going to tap on your forehead, and you're going to breathe in through your nose. and out through your mouth. And I literally like go into this weird process. So it's like super hooky because I just like start with the technique and I'm like, here's how you do it. And I was like, as weird as this is the same technique that Dr. Eric doubled his income in less than 30 days, went from 30K to 60K without changing any marketing. And this is also the same technique that Craig healed from a cardiovascular, a cardiac arrest after 5 years not being able to function. And so I just like went in and told him about, I was still following some of the templates, but it was just like my own thing. And then I go into it and I talk about the philosophy, like, here's why it works. And, you know, everybody talks about change the mind, change your thoughts. But did you know that every cell in your body has its own thoughts process and its own memory? So if you change your brain, but you miss all the rest of your body, you're going to have to do a lot of time to convince your body of what you actually want. But what if there was a way to program every single part of your body in a couple hours? Like, wouldn't you want to do that? Of course you would. And so this is the same process that we teach so-and-so and they get this result and this one. And we have hundreds of testimonials, which is why our technique sells so well. So I just like got into it and I was like, here's why it works. And here's how you're not doing it. And then like people just watch the whole time and everybody who watches it, they're like, I literally thought this was like the meditation video that I clicked on and your ad just popped up and I didn't even know it was an ad. And then they're like, it just stops. And they're like, I need to know more. And I was like, so yeah, we make it to where now, like the best ones, we've tested probably, I don't know, 50 different ads and they all suck, except for this one that I'm just like 12 minutes long, me going on and on and on and like teach it. And so that's the one we are even running today.
That's good. Has there ever been a time that you wanted to give up?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. Yeah. So not now, but when I was like, even just maybe 3 years ago, because I'm also about balance. Like I've got 3 kids. I've got a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 1-year-old, and I'm all about teaching people how to balance everything so they don't sacrifice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember about maybe it was 3 years ago when we had our second one, and I was like, we weren't sleeping at all. And it was just hard and everything I was doing. And I was like, is anything I do even work? And why am I doing this? And is this even like, have I been believing this is all a lie? Is this just placebo? Is this temporary? Like, you know, we go on. And I just like went through all these doubts and uncertainties. And I remember just being like, I quit. Like, I'm not helping anybody else. And I literally wanted to go flip burgers. I was like, I want to go get hired with Burger King and just flip freaking hamburgers for a long time. And then I thought about it and I was like, if I was there, the only problem is I couldn't help, but I'd probably have to coach people on changing their mindset. And I was like, I can't escape this gift. Like I have to teach and coach. So I was like, even that doesn't sound appealing. So yeah, I didn't quit, but I think I mentally quit for like 3 or 4 days. I was like, I'm not talking to anybody. I quit. I like cancel all my sessions. I'm like, vegged for like 4 days solid, just binge watching movies. And I was like, I am not changing my life anymore. I'm just enjoying nothing. And then after that, I was like, this sucks. Like, I want to go do stuff. So yeah.
Got back on it. So what do you think's been your biggest achievement on your journey?
Biggest achievements. I mean, it's all perspective, you know. Monetarily, I think our biggest achievement is, you know, maybe hitting 2cc or just having systems that work and provide good income. But to me, like, I'm not money driven. I'm more service based driven. So like for me, like the achievements have been like, I love doing my mission. Like that was awesome when I was for 2 years. Now I feel like I'm doing my own mission, like helping, empowering people.
Yeah.
And honestly, I like every achievement is like a big thing for me. So we get them in daily, like what people are experiencing and life-changing stuff that they go through. So I don't ever see one as like the one.
Yeah.
It's just like consistent. It's like, it's just awesome to live it instead of being like the big achievement, you know?
Yeah. It's a continuous journey. Like,
yeah. And every achievement is just another thing. So it's just like, I just try to embrace that identity that I'm always going to have that, and it's going to be fun no matter what.
So when did you join Wrestles Inner Circle then?
This year. So yeah, I
Okay.
ended up joining earlier this year.
And how's that been so far?
Been great connections, some really cool people. We just got back from Mexico to Xcaret and did a lot of stuff there. That was super fun. And we're fixing to go to Idaho in like 2 weeks and go hang out with everybody. So that'll be fun.
Cool. So what's your focus now for this year then?
Focus this year is a lot of things. My goal is to get systems that are automated to where we generate over $100,000 a month consistently without me being in any of it. So that would be super epic. That's our next goal. And then we're training coaches and instructors. So we have people that are teaching this all over the planet now, and coaches that will be incorporating into our company. And so, yeah, it'll be like helping people get the same exact transformation, but without me being in the thick of any of it.
Right. Okay.
And so I can just do it because I love it and not because I have to.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to do this forever. Like, I'm never going to quit. It's just fun. I love it. And like, it's like, what would you do if you retire? I'd still do this. Like, it's like, it's fun helping people change their life. But it's just with a different angle and purpose. So eventually we want to get to where we have the world's leading world's top leadership training for youth. My wife's super passionate about that. So we're going to have a whole thing on empowering youth to become leaders. And we used to actually do some events for youth and teach them leadership training. Like, that's what she was really good at and is phenomenal at, and ran camps and things. So yeah, that's our big goal, is to have like a multi-million-dollar facility that people can come to, youth, and experience massive changes and really step into their power and really empower the youth.
Yeah, that's really cool, because there's such a gap for youth, isn't there? Such a gap.
Huge,
yeah.
Especially with how things are ran today. So they need a lot of help.
Yeah. Okay, I got one last question for you.
Yeah.
If you're going to be an animal for 24 hours, what would you be and why?
If I could be an animal for 24 hours, what would I be and why? I'd be Bigfoot, because he's like so reclusive, and I'd be like, I wonder where he lives. Like, so I would want to be a Bigfoot, because then I'd probably go find all the other Bigfoots. Or the abominable snowman, then be like, I found their cave. This is awesome.
Okay, so I want to thank you so much for chatting today. It's been awesome. If anybody's interested in finding out more about what you do, where can they go to find that out?
So 2 places. One is my Facebook group, Tyler FB for Facebook, tylerfb.com. That'll take you right to my Facebook group, tylerfb.com. Or you can grab my book at alignmenteffect.com. So alignmenteffect.com with an E, alignmenteffect.com.
Awesome. That's great. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Polly.
Thank you for listening. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review and subscribe to the podcast on your podcast software. It really helps us rank the podcast and get more listeners. And if you're over on YouTube, please subscribe and hit the bell. Every Friday, 8 a.m. GMT, we release a brand new episode. And until then, have a good one.